Today, we're diving into a really tough question. How should the law treat a child? And we're going to find the answer inside a critical piece of Indian law, the Juvenile Justice Act of 2015.
So let's just get right to the heart of the matter. Think about it. Is a child who commits a crime the same as a child who's found begging on the street? Should one system, one approach, handle both? This one single question? Well, it's what the entire act is built to answer.
And the answer, as you might have guessed, is laid out in the Juvenile Justice Act of 2015. This is the single comprehensive legal framework that covers every single person in India under the age of 18, right from the moment they come into contact with the law.
Now I want you to really pay attention to the language here. The purpose isn't punishment. The Act's own words focus on care, protection, development, and social reintegration. What does that tell you? It tells you this is all about welfare, about rehabilitation, guided by what the law itself calls a child-friendly approach.
So how does the Act actually do all this? Well, it starts with a really fundamental distinction. It doesn't just lump every child into one basket. Instead, it creates two completely separate legal categories. And this separation is, without a doubt, the foundation of the entire system.
Okay, so this is where you can really see those two pathways taking shape. On one side, you have the child in conflict with law. This is all about what a child has allegedly done. But on the other side, you've got the child in need of care and protection. And this is all about a child's circumstances, what's happening to them. As you can imagine, the law treats these two groups completely differently.
So let's break down that first category, the child in conflict with law. The Act is super specific here. This is anyone under 18 who is accused of or has been found to have committed a legal offense. It's pretty much the official term for a juvenile offender.
Now compare that to the second category. Its definition is just incredibly broad, and that's by design. It's meant to be a safety net for any vulnerable child. We're talking about kids who are homeless, orphaned, victims of abuse, at risk of trafficking, you name it. This category is purely about protecting them from harm.
So it only makes sense, right? If you've got two totally different kinds of children with completely different needs, you're going to need two totally different systems to handle them. And that is exactly what this Act sets up.
And here are the two big players at the heart of the system. For a child in conflict with the law, their case goes before what's called a Juvenile Justice Board, or JJB. But for a child in need of care and protection, they're handled by a Child Welfare Committee, or CWC. Two distinct paths for two very distinct needs.
And just look at how different these two bodies are. The Juvenile Justice Board, the JJB, it functions like a court. Its job is adjudication, basically figuring out if a crime was committed, and it's headed by a magistrate. But the Child Welfare Committee, the CWC, that's not a court at all. It's all about care and protection, and it's made up of experts in child welfare. One is judicial, the other is all about well-being.
But you might be asking, what philosophy guides all these decisions? What stops them from just doing whatever they want? Well, their actions aren't random at all. The Act itself actually lays out a powerful set of principles that have to be followed in every single case.
And these principles, they're all about putting the child first. They state that every child is presumed innocent and must be treated with dignity. They put a big emphasis on family responsibility. And, this is so important, they mandate that putting a child in an institution is always the absolute last resort.
But out of all of these, there's one golden rule, one principle that trumps everything else. And the law itself says it right here. Every single decision has to be based on the best interest of the child. That's the ultimate test. Not what's convenient for the system, not what's easy, but what is genuinely best for that child's future.
You see, the point of all this isn't just to get a case file stamped closed. The Act has a much bigger, much more hopeful goal that looks way beyond the courtroom.
And the Act lays out a very clear roadmap for this. The number one goal always is restoration to the family. If that's just not possible, then the next best options are foster care or adoption. You notice the pattern here? There's a huge preference for a family environment. Institutional care is way down at the bottom of the list. It is the absolute last resort.
And this protective mindset doesn't stop with the kids. It's not just about guiding children, it's also about holding adults accountable. The law actually creates specific crimes and penalties for any adult or any institution that harms a child they're supposed to be caring for.
And believe me, this law has real teeth. For example, using corporal punishment on a child in a care institution isn't just a bad idea, it's an actual offense. A first conviction gets you a 10,000 rupee fine, and a second one can mean prison time. The message couldn't be clearer. Adults will be held responsible.
So when you put all these pieces together, the two separate paths, the child-first principles, the focus on rehabilitation, you really start to see the big picture. The ultimate vision of this act is social reintegration. It's a forward-looking law designed to help every single child, no matter their past, become a contributing member of society.
Which really brings us to a final, pretty deep question. The Juvenile Justice Act of 2015 is India's detailed answer to it. It's a legal declaration that a child's welfare and their potential are what matters most. A framework built not on punishment, but on a deep belief in a second chance. And that, I think we can all agree, is something worth thinking about.